Good afternoon, everyone. This is Piya Mayenin, Immigration, Employment and Family Law Solicitor. This is an employment law update on the coronavirus job retention scheme. Some of you may be more familiar with the term furloughed employees scheme. Although furloughed employee is not a very familiar term in the UK, it's a term that is borrowed from the US. In the US, furloughed employees are those that are put on a leave of absence without any pay. So in the UK, on the 20th of March, our Chancellor of Exchequer announced this scheme that will be up and running by the end of this month, April 2020, whereby employers would be able to claim 80% of wages or up to £2,500 per month for employees who have been furloughed. On the 26th of March 2020, HM Revenue and Customs published a detailed guideline offering guidance on how this is to be, who qualifies, whether you're an employer, whether you're an employee, and how you calculate what is to be given. First of all, the scheme is open to all UK employers, including charities, recruitment agencies, public authorities, so long as they have created and started a PAYE payroll scheme on or before 28th of February 2020 and have a UK bank account. As to employee eligibility, the HMRC guidance states that the CVJRS, the Coronavirus Job Retention Scheme, will cover employees who have been on the payroll since 28th of April 2020. And this can be on any type of contract, whether it's a full-time, part-time, whether it's an agency contract, whether it's a flexible or 0 hours contract. Most significantly, if someone has been made redundant since the 28th of February, they can be rehired and furloughed. An employee is considered furloughed for this purpose if he or she does no work. So this is a very crucial point. I've had a couple of questions saying that can I work and can I tie up some work? Any tying up of work would need to be done before the furloughing starts. The scheme will run for 3 months from the 1st of March 2020, and reduced hours therefore do not count as furloughed employees. This furloughed, you cannot be a furloughed employee without your knowledge. It needs to be communicated to you. You have to agree to it. Likewise, once it's agreed, employers have to draft a contract of employment reflecting this agreement and have to put it in writing to an employee that you have now been furloughed, and this must be retained as a matter of record by the employer. So how you would calculate during the period of furlough: an employer should pay the employee at least 80% of the salary or £2,500 per month, and an employer may choose to top up this to 100% if he or she so wishes, but is not obliged to do so. The employee's actual salary before tax is to be used when calculating this 80%. So the guidance also states that fees, commissions, bonuses should not be part of this. As for employees whose pay varies, well then, if someone has been employed for at least a year, the employer will be able to claim for the higher of the employee's earnings in the same month the previous year, or the employee's average monthly earnings in the 2019-2020 tax year. In the case of an employee who has been employed for less than a year, the employer will be able to claim for the average of the employee's monthly earnings since he started work. For someone who has just started in February, then the employer would need to prorata the employee's earnings so far. Now, the guidance also covers national minimum wage and how this is incorporated. It states that since employees are entitled to national minimum wage while doing work, furloughed employees who are not working must be paid at 80% rate or 2,500, even if based on their usual working hours, this would be below the applicable rate of national minimum wage. However, the guidance does go on to state that if employees are required to do any training, for example online training, then they must be paid for this at least the minimum wage rate for the time that they have spent, even if this is more than 80% of their wage that would be subsidised. Now, on the 4th of April 2020, HMRC did clarify some things that were not so clear in the initial guidance. For instance, those that are made redundant since the 28th of February, well, in fact, anyone who's been dismissed for anything may be furloughed after they are rehired. And also 2 jobs. So someone can work for 2 jobs. They can work for one employer while on furlough from the other one. And then whilst they're on furlough, they can start a new job. So that has been clarified. And then also what's been qualified is that the CVJRS can cover limb workers. Limb workers are the non-employees who satisfy the definition of worker in section 230, subsection 3, subsection B of the Employment Rights Act 1996, so long as they are paid through PAYE. This was implicit in the first guidance but has now been made clear. But however, there are some key questions that need to be addressed. For instance, annual leave and sick pay. ACAS has published a guidance on 2nd of April about annual leave and says that employees can take or require to take annual leave in the usual way, but it fails to say what remuneration they would be entitled to. So if that's the usual remuneration or if it's the furloughed rate. Similarly, statutory sick pay is another area of confusion, although the guidance is very clear that an employee who's already receiving SSP cannot be furloughed until he returns to work. It does not address the situation of an employee on furlough who becomes sick in one place. The guidance says that the furloughed employee have the right to SSP, but in another it says that the employers cannot claim under the CVJRS for the employee who is getting SSP. I hope that has been helpful for you. I will come back with another update in a couple of days with more clarifications. In the meanwhile, if you have any questions, please leave a question wherever you see this video or on my website, and I will be glad to assist you. Please stay safe wherever you are. Please follow government guidelines. As we all know, the virus does not discriminate against anyone. The headman of the country is in hospital as we speak, so please be very careful. I'll talk to you soon again. Bye.